Hey everyone, welcome to The Reluctant Chef. I am Sue Moulton, your Pampered Chef Consultant, and today is sourdough bread day. So we are going to not only make a sourdough starter, but we are also going to make a cheesy fondue beer dip to go with the sourdough bread that I purchased today because my starter has not gotten going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the smallest casserole size rock crock. The rock crock is made from a glazed ceramic that is heat safe up to 752 degrees. So that means that this can go out on your outdoor gas or charcoal grill. This can go in your microwave. It can go in your dishwasher. It can go on your stove, under your broiler, and in the oven. So this is a one-pot meal that goes everywhere. The only thing it will not work on is an induction oven, and we have cast iron for that, and we have the stainless steel, which we'll be using here, the stainless steel nonstick, and you can use that on the, here, I'll put you down this way, on your induction ovens if you have one of those. So what are we doing? We are gonna do a cheese fondue, which I grew up eating. I don't know about you guys, but I was joking about this the other day that when we were a kid, our parents put us next to a table with boiling lava oil, right? And these little fondue sticks. And then, and by the way, Pampered Chef sells these great telescoping fondue sticks that are perfect for s'mores as well. And we would use that, and we would put little pieces of meat on it, and we would dip it in the boiling oil, and everybody had their own color. I was always the color red. And then we would pull it out and we'd let it cool on our plate while we put more meat on it and put it in the boiling oil. And then we would take pieces of sourdough bread and we would put it on our fork and we would dip it in the beer cheese, right? Well, there's a great place in New Hampshire. For those of you who are, hi Denise, that are in New Hampshire, you should go to Schillings and Littleton. They make the best cheese sauce to go with their pretzels. It's basically a fondue cheese dipping sauce. So we are going to start, while I'm melting a half a stick of butter, we are going to melt or shred our Gruyere cheese. And I probably said that wrong. Forgive me for all of you who are French out there. But this is a nice soft type of Swiss cheese that will melt and give it a nice flavor. Now, I am using a Corona because that happens to be the only beer that we had in the house. And I was looking for an IPA when I was at the store and I could not find what I was looking for. So, you know, I am Susie Substitute, so that's what you're gonna get. We're going to be using our adjustable grater on the coarse setting here. And I'm gonna go ahead and grate up some of this cheese. So I need about 1.5 cups of the Swiss cheese and then, or Gruyere cheese, and then a 1.5 cups of the cheddar. And I decided to do the, let me just cut the ends off here. I decided to do the white cheddar because I like the look of it, but if you like the yellow cheese, you can, you know, use a yellow cheddar, doesn't matter. So also a part of this recipe will be 12 ounces of beer. It will use 1/3 cup of flour. So we're gonna make a roux. For those of you who aren't familiar, a roux is when you melt butter and then you add flour into it, and the flour and the butter make this sticky paste, and you're gonna get it so that it's a little bit brown, but you don't want it to get burnt. And so the brown will make a nice color. That is what the base of any good like mac and cheese is a good roux. So we're gonna do that first. And then before we add our cheeses in, we're going to add our beer and our heavy cream. Now, it's really important. A lot of recipes are going to tell you to use regular milk or light cream or something like that. I am going to tell you that although you probably can use that, I'm going to recommend that you use the heavy cream and that you don't use a super acidic beer. So heavier beers or darker beers will give you a different flavor, which is fine. Hey there, Lori. But what you don't want is you don't want a super acidic beer because it will curdle your cream when you add it in. Now, I'm trying to find my little whipper. Hold on, I got a little mini whipper here somewhere. It's one of those comeback tools. Maybe it's in the dishwasher. Now, I keep telling you, I have this fancy kitchen with all fancy drawers. And to the save of my life, I can't figure out what drawer everything's in. I used to have a tool turnabout on my kitchen counter. You all saw that before, right? And I bet it's in the last. Of course it is. It's in the last drawer. So we want the mini whipper. I like this one. Hey, Melissa. I love this one. This is a comeback tool, one that we had in our line, and they got rid of it. They discontinued it. A lot of people asked for it to come back, so it is back in the line. I like it because you can really do a good whisk with it, and it's flat on the bottom so that you can get right onto the bottom of the pan. I really, for those of you who like it. Lori says, is light beer best use? It actually says to use an IPA, and it just says non-acidic, but they did give me some, and I'll post I used a Southern Living recipe, and with a few little Susie substitutes. As always, I'm supposed to have dry mustard, but I don't know for the life of me. I mean, not everything made it on the truck on the way down here. A lot of stuff we just had to cram into our garage in New Hampshire because it wouldn't all fit. So some of the stuff that I thought was here, I have not uncovered. So, all right, so we got our butter done. We're gonna go ahead and add a 1/3 of a cup of flour, and we're just gonna whisk this around until it makes a nice roux. So we are using butter and not oil for the rich taste of butter. And after all, I am in the South. Oh my gosh, we were laughing so hard of all the different Southern type foods that are down here that I've never tried. I grew up, and one time my dad had given me fried pork rinds, and I saw them in the store. I'm like, fried pork rinds? My husband's like, that is so bad for you. I'm like, yeah, we should get a bag. We should try it. I remember them being really salty and really crunchy, but I mean, it's basically like fat, like bacon fat, just deep fried. So yeah, all the lovely unhealthy things down here. I don't know if I'm ever gonna lose weight before summer and swim season, right? But the reason we're using butter is not only because of the nice rich taste, but because butter will brown when you heat it, whereas oil will not. And we wanna get that nice little brown color on it. So I'm just gonna whisk it a little bit more. And then the recipe calls for 1/4 of a cup of heavy cream. Now, some of the times, one of the things that I like to do when I'm dealing with cream is I tend to like to heat it up just a little bit, especially when you're using like mac and cheese. When you're doing a roux for mac and cheese, it says to add, oh, I said timer. I'm so used to hitting the timer for my coffee in the morning instead of time cook. Oh, I don't want that. Silly me. Hold on. Oh, I just want like a couple of seconds, like 13 seconds or something, not 1:30. So when you're doing a roux, I always heat the milk before I add it into the melted cheese so that it does not, it doesn't curdle, and that helps it. So bringing it to room temperature or bringing it up to a warmer temperature will really help. All right, so we got our roux. It's looking good. It's a little bit brown. Now you notice I turned the stove down. Let me tell you about the rock crocks. They are a series of cookware that we have, and there are, there's a rock crock grill stone, there is a rock crock square stone that goes onto your grill. We have a grill, so we have a pizza stone, a grill stone, we have a 2-quart Dutch oven, we have an everyday pan, which is 2.5 quart, the Dutch oven is 4 quart. All right, so we added the milk in, that's good. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the beer in. We're gonna mix that in, and we're gonna stir it in as we go. Now you can use non-alcoholic beer, it said, but you know, the alcohol ends up burning off anyway, so it doesn't matter, whatever you want. And on the other pan over here, because we're not doing our traditional Easter dinner on Sunday, we're gonna actually all go to the beach, and we're gonna cook at the beach on Sunday on a hibachi. I decided to pick up some ham steaks, and then I just picked up some sausage, and we're just gonna reheat that as our protein with this. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start melting our fancy cheese. Now remember, this is the Gruyere cheese, very expensive cheese. It's like, I don't know, it was $12 for a little wedge of it. Well, maybe it wasn't a little wedge, but a bigger wedge of it. But you really want the good stuff. You can use mozzarella, you can use cheddar and Swiss combined. I did pick up all of those in case I couldn't find our fancy cheese here. The reason I was worried about it is there's lots of stores down here. Today we went to a Piggly Wiggly. Who's heard of a Piggly Wiggly? Raise your hand. I saw that and I said to my husband, quick, pull in. I want to try a Piggly Wiggly. I've heard all about them. So we have Winn-Dixie's down here, Piggly Wiggly's, Publix, which is more of the upscale kind of store, but it has, their prices are upscale as well. And then most of our grocery shopping is either at the Walmart neighborhood, which is like a grocery mart in Walmart. There's also a Sam's Club and the commissary. So we're kind of figuring out where's the best place to shop down here. So if you live down in my area, you can let me know. We started pricing things because like in New Hampshire, you can buy an apple for 99 cents a pound, right? Not down here. It's like $1.69 to $1.89 a pound for apples. And then the kind that I like, which are the Pink Ladies or the Honey Crisps, which are normally in New Hampshire $1.69 a pound. They're like $2.60 a pound down here. So I eat my apples very slowly and enjoy every bite of them because I probably eat an apple a day. Apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? All right, so we are melting 2 different cheeses in here. Once we get the cheeses melted in, we're gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of, it's supposed to be dried mustard, another one of those spices that I don't know where it ended up. A lot of stuff that came with the tool turnabout. We have a couple of tool turnabouts, but not sure where they ended up. Let's talk about one of my favorite sets of tools. These are the wood and silicone, and they come, you live near Piggly Wiggly too, cool. These come as a set of 3. There's a spatula, there's a spoon, and then there's a pasta fork. And what I like about these is that $1 from each of these will go to Feeding America, which is a program, and you can look it up and see what program is closest to you, but Feeding America puts 10 meals on the table on a local food bank based on the zip code of the host of my shows. So if you live in South Carolina, like Tammy does, then you're going to get it to your local Feeding America food bank. And if you live in New Hampshire and near Concord, it'll go to the Friendly Kitchen. So it's really cool. You can always look up to see if Feeding America is near you. They buy in bulk and they can do a lot of food, and Pampered Chef partners with them. And they do a great job. So consider that when you guys are purchasing, rounding your order up to the nearest dollar, or donating $1, $5, $10, it doesn't matter. Once you donate, you know, for every dollar you donate, it will go up to that amount. Now, some of the recipes call for garlic and onion powder in it. We're not doing that, as you know. That's something that Logan doesn't use, so we're just not going to use that. We're going to use a little bit of Worcestershire, and then a little bit of brown mustard. I'm doing the ground mustard. And then I'm going to come over and it's like a teaspoon and a half. 1 to 2 teaspoons is what I'm putting in here. Then I'm going to turn everything on low so I can come over and I can show you guys how easy it is to make your own sourdough starter. Now, you have to be in quarantine. So the first time I did it, I was on 10-day quarantine. So you need 10 days to make a really good sourdough starter. But there are 2 ingredients or 2 things that you need to know. First thing you need to know is you need to get the unbleached flour. And I think that that's why I was having a really difficult time with my sourdough starter before, because I had just regular all-purpose flour, and that does not work. So sourdough is a fermentation. So if you don't have yeast, remember at the beginning of the pandemic, like you couldn't find flour, you couldn't find yeast, nobody could find baking powder, baking soda, like there was this big run on it, right? Well, you don't have to. If you have flour and you have water, you can make your own bread. So it just takes a little bit of time. It takes 10 days. So let me turn this down. Let me turn that to low. And let's come over here. Let me show you what I mean. So we're using the King Arthur all-purpose flour, which says unbleached on it. That is key. And then the other key ingredient with making sourdough bread is you want to make sure that your water is purified. So buy bottled water or get it out of the fridge if you have a filter on it. Hi, Linda. But then you want to make sure it's at room temperature. So I fill this up every day and then leave it on the counter so that it's at room temperature. And then to make sourdough, you just need a big jar. So, and then a tall spatula. So we're using my cooking blender spatula. which is perfect for getting food out of the blender like peanut butter. And all you're gonna do, let me get a little filter here. All you're gonna do is you're gonna put a cup of flour and a cup of water. And then you're going to just blend it together, mix it together, that's it. And then you leave it out with the cover off. And what happens is that there's yeast in the air that will start fermenting over days. So what you do every day, you have to feed this like a baby. So you're going to mix it up in the morning, and you're going to take half of the concoction that is left, and you're going to put that half in, we do it in a pancake or something like that, and then you we put onions, and we use the Everything Bagel seasoning mix on it, and we make a pancake. We make like a little pancake. We've even made pizza crust with it as well. And then what you do is what the part that's left, the half that's left, is you add another 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of water. And you do that every day for 10 days. So you're gonna be pouring off half at a time. Well, what's gonna happen at about day 4 to day 6 is it's gonna start bubbling at it. And that's the fermenting process, which is really good. And you'll be able to see it. It'll start to rise up your jar and then go back down during the day. And that means that that's when you have to feed it again. And so you want to feed it every day so it keeps growing and keeps rising. And then eventually what happens is you get it to a place that is so thick that when you touch it, it's really, really thick. And then it's, you can actually float a piece of it. Hi, Kim. You can float a piece of it in the, in water. And that's how you know you're at the right thickness for that. And it'll smell fermented a little bit. It's really good. And then what you do with that is you use part of that in your recipe, in your sourdough bread recipe. It's like a 1/4 cup of it. Now the rest of it, you can put it in a dormant stage. So you don't have to keep feeding it forever. You can put it in the refrigerator for a week. And then what you do is you take it out of the refrigerator and let it sit on the counter overnight, like on a weekend. And you take part of the sourdough out, maybe you bake a loaf of bread, and then you feed it again, another cup of water, cup of flour, and then you just put it back in the refrigerator till next weekend. So once you get your sourdough starter done, you can use it every weekend and make homemade bread. So we're going to, and I'll post a picture of this last time I made sourdough bread. I bought it this time because I wanted to do this recipe, and today is National Sourdough Day, but you can make these really easy loaves of bread that when you tap it, they sound hollow, nice and crusty on the outside. And we've got a great enamel Dutch oven that is cast iron, that is in blue, just for a couple of months, just in time for Mother's Day and Easter, but in a beautiful slate gray that is perfect. And you can get that, and you can cook your bread in that. You can also cook, you know, a roast or a chicken or a soup or a stew, chili, you name it. It's gonna be great. So I'm gonna finish up here. We're gonna get dinner on the table. Thanks for watching The Reluctant Chef. If you're in one of my parties and you have any questions about the tools that you've seen, I want you to let me know. Remember that I have secret words hidden in my parties. Today is April Fool's. That is the secret word of today. So if you're in one of my virtual parties, I want you to private message me, April Fool's, and then you'll get bonus points into today's raffle. Thanks again for watching. See you online.